morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you, it's evening for us. Welcome once again to Talking Pictures, your weekly Wednesday podcast where me, myself and I, and my good co-host David, host any topics for movie talks and TV discussions. David, how are you?
I'm good, Brian. How are you today?
I'm chill.
Yeah, I like that description, the weekly Wednesday.
Yeah. Just waffled it out as
weekly
I thought.
Wednesday waffle.
Yeah, I gotta remember that one.
Yeah.
Dave, before we get into today's discussion, I've got a trailer of the week.
Please, hit us with it.
In the theme of Netflix, Axel F. Beverly Hills Cops 4. We got another legacy sequel from a Eddie Murphy franchise. I know you didn't watch the original trilogy.
No.
I watched the original trilogy just as much as you watched the first Home Alone.
Right, okay, so not at all.
Well, yes, not in a straight line.
Okay, so
finish.
You've seen bits of it, you're familiar with it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I know how the bad guys die. I don't really know what the plots are about. I just know it's supposed to be funny. And the Axel F music, which we all know as the Crazy Frog music video
from Monsters vs Aliens.
Really,
the opening scene from Monsters vs Aliens.
Really, okay. For me, it was the Crazy Frog music video. That, and the Gummy Bear music video, and the Sweet Like Chocolate, and the Blue Dabba Dee. All them.
Yeah.
So we got a fourth one. Of course, we got a couple of old veteran actors coming back into it, but I bet there'll just be like 2 to 3 scenes max, whereas the new actors into this fourth one, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Kevin Bacon, they'll be sort of the front line. But it's all Eddie Murphy, a 62-year-old who looks like 42.
He's been away for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Been...
I remember a time where there's a bit of a lack of Eddie Murphy until Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah.
And that, on Netflix... Okay, cool. We got a bit of a Eddie Murphy recurrence here, and then he went on to do Coming to America 2, which... Did you watch the first one?
No.
Did you watch the second one?
No.
I watched the first one. I shouldn't have watched the second one.
Okay.
And then he did that Jonah Hill movie, which I'm told wasn't funny.
Yeah, where he's the dad-in-law, yeah.
Yeah, like great pairing. Like a bit unique one. It's almost like two different generations of comedians coming together. But nothing came of it. And yeah, I think this is the next lot, because Beverly Hills Cop 4 has always been one of those movies to, will they make it, will they ever make it, when it comes to doing another one, something like what another Tron movie is, or another Lethal Weapon movie is, whether it might or might not, is finally coming for this. I like the trailer. I like the typical, let's get this classic music score, make it more goosebumpsy.
Yeah.
And,
slow it down, a bit more orchestral. Just give everyone the nostalgia that,
Yeah, and then...
Do you think you'll go back and watch the first ones leading up to this one?
Yeah. I'm gonna. Just to, I guess, show a bit of appreciation.
Familiarise yourself with it. When's that due to come out then?
It doesn't have a proper release date. It's just coming summer 2024.
Summer, okay.
Yeah, so hopefully it's good.
Yeah, one to look out for anyway.
Aye.
But on to our main topic, another Netflix release.
Rebel Moon, noun of noun.
So this is Zack Snyder's, is it his return? No, I was going to say his return, but he had obviously Army of the Dead there a couple of years ago, but it's his...
This is just him planting his feet into the Netflix building. Yeah, hey guys, we're just gonna do this thing over here. Pitching this movie. He wanted to do, let's just say he wanted to make an intellectual property based on a story he had. Whether or not it was based on an original graphic novel that no one knows, I'm not sure if it is or not. Besides the point, he had an idea, he wanted to make it. Sci-fi, epic, opera, clash of characters in the vein of Seven Samurai and Star Wars. And I was quite eager to watch this movie. I remember when this movie was being announced and being shot, because it was all the way back when Army of the Dead was coming into Netflix for me to watch, because I was eager to watch that. I like zombie movies. Fits in right in my alley.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, cool, now we've got it. And I did know he was planning to make a second one. I just didn't know he already had shot it.
Yeah, that was something that kind of was nearly revealed in the first trailer.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. I remember watching that first trailer and thinking kind of halfway through, I was like, this is a lot of footage.
Yeah.
We are jumping between a lot of scenes here. There's no way this could be... And like nearly
so different from each other.
Yeah.
Because you got like this... You got Blade Runner world, and then you have the desert world, and then you have this other world that is just a characteristic of a certain environment.
It just felt like there was no way that what I was seeing here could be one movie, and if so, I was seeing all of it.
Yeah.
And then nearly as that my brain was making that connection, it was like part 1 this day, and then part 2. So where this came out for us yesterday, so the 22nd of December. The next one is due now the 19th of April. So it's interesting. It's one of those, similar to how The Matrix 2 and 3 were released.
Yeah, yeah.
In that they're filmed at the same time, released, and then 6 months, just about 6 months from release again, you're getting the second one.
Well, to me, that's non-existent because I was too young to pay attention. I know after the fact, when we're older, we can pay attention to this type of stuff, but for me, this is not a very common thing. And but it's okay, cool. At least it's shot and it's done. You know, I was worried that Denis Villeneuve was not going to get to film Dune Part 2 because I was afraid people wouldn't get on board with it and it would flop, and thank God it
was a risky move in those opening credits to say Dune Part 1 as well, because it wasn't confirmed that he was going to get Part 2.
Definitely wasn't confirmed, thank God. And just goes to show, when you have an auteur like him, you can put him in a property that could be mainstream to be compared to the likes of Star Wars or whatever. So Zack Snyder, having done superhero movies, he's no stranger to it.
He's very auteur himself, similar to Denis Villeneuve. He is.
Yes.
But
I would argue more visually.
Yeah, he is an auteur, definitely. But does his style always fit what he is doing? If that makes sense. So,
is there a movie you have in mind that his style did not?
This one,
right?
Just in terms of, I think it's I'm not coming up with anything new here. It's very well known, amongst people, is that Zack Snyder does make very visually stunning movies. Yeah. You could stop a Zack Snyder movie at any point and it looks fantastic.
A moving picture, and
it just stop, and there you go. It's like a screensaver, it's a great image. Yeah. But another trope or another characteristic of him is the slow-mo. He's very famous for it. It came from his 300 was the initial thing, and then I think Sucker Punch might have had a good bit of it. I didn't see Sucker Punch, but
it was one of those. Yeah. Watchmen,
absolutely. It wasn't so much in the DC movies.
No, he dialed it back with them. I don't know if Warner Brothers or DC sort of put a leash on him, saying no, come back here with us a little bit.
And then,
whereas here in this one,
it's Zack Snyder let loose. So like when
I'm gonna have an argument later for that, but Zach, you can do whatever you want. Just stay in the sandbox. Yeah. But I'll elaborate on that in a bit.
So when that style, like when it's initially introduced into 300, it's specifically in these big, huge, fast moving battle sequences. Yeah. And you get that slow down and seeing it, and those are quite cool. But when it's presented here, when your one is just like planting seeds, or when the big ship flies in and she drops the seeds on the ground and stuff like that, and I'm like, you're really kind of pushing it with this slow-mo stuff. Like I'm sure there's stuff later on here that I will want to see in slow motion, but it just feels like you're really putting I need to have a slow-mo shot of this here. Yeah. That was a little bit too... It took me out of the sci-fi world I'm watching a Zack Snyder movie.
Almost like it came to become a gimmick. Yeah. As opposed to creative visual style.
Doing it for the sake of the fact that he does that, as opposed to enhancing the story or enhancing the visuals.
Well, he would disagree with you on that.
I'm sure he absolutely would, yeah.
Like, he has his argument to say why he would want to slow-mo the seeds falling to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I do see where you're coming from. Don't know if I agree with you because I don't have an issue with the slow-mo whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I have no issue with any of the slow-mo in this movie whatsoever at all. But I do see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I can agree with you, or I see where you're coming from. The slow-mo is non-existent to me. It was always going to be a long movie regardless. Mm-hmm. But yes, it is a moving picture, and it's what you're expecting from it. Having said that, I was drunk. I was drinking a couple of cans, nicking them down, because when I finished one can and I've 2 hours left to go, I'm not just going to sit here. Mm-hmm. So I got another one and I kept on going. So I might have been numb to everything critics are saying negatively about this movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult to avoid what the critics are saying, because I think as soon as those initial reviews came out, the two of us were like, oh, that's disappointing. Now what are we in for? Because in my head I did have that we're going into
a space opera,
a Star Wars-esque movie. And then when you see Rotten Tomatoes scores coming in and it's in the 30s and it's, reviews that say this is a mess.
Yeah,
you lose heart a little.
Yeah, so pretty much me and you walked into watching this movie thinking, let's see what's wrong with it then.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm really excited for this. Mm-hmm. And this is my type of movie. I have a few type of movies, but this is definitely one of them. This is like in the top 3.
Absolutely.
Would you care to explain?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Please.
Yeah. No. If I'm on the right track, I just know for a fact you love ragtag groups.
Yes.
You like a mixed match of characters from different backgrounds, different skill sets thrown together into a team.
Yes.
A la Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Suicide Squad.
Even some World War II movies.
World War II, I'm sure Borderlands will come into that play. Oh. We won't start on Borderlands just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you're aware of the games and all that. And so those kind of groups, you're expecting that from Skeleton Crew. So a bit
of Skeleton Crew, yeah.
As soon as that kind of became present in this movie, I was like, okay, this seems like it's down Brian's alley. Absolutely, this is where he wants to go.
Yeah. It's just that I'll not jump ahead of myself. Shall we talk a bit about the movie? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Set in a world where Anthony Hopkins is the narrator. Mm. It's just Star Wars. You have your Luke type of character being given the role to do the 7 Samurai or Magnificent 7 to leave her home in search of noble, great warriors to fight against the Nazi or the Empire.
Yeah.
Because essentially these Nazis, who are pretty much non-diverse or what's the word I'm looking for? They're all racist.
Well, they all look exactly the same.
They're all thinking. They're all thinking. They are as evil and bad as the aim of a stormtrooper.
Yeah, I think you're right. Going into it, I had in my head like, oh, I know that this was initially pitched as a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So in my head, I did have the preconceived notion that, okay, if I am watching this, I can imagine how this would be Star Wars.
Yes.
And like that, those Imperial guards are brought in. They'd be stormtroopers posted there. Yeah. The robot that came out, you know the iconography, it's going to be there. And like that, I actually I do agree with you in that it does feel like A New Hope again, but with a slight twist on it where I felt like we were nearly following Obi-Wan as opposed to following Luke. I felt like the main character, Kora, she's Obi-Wan.
I know the characters' names. That's how much I was invested.
And then the farmer that comes with her, Gunner, he was Luke. But yeah, it's very much from her perspective.
Do you know what I was thinking? I was thinking Gunnar is Luke.
Yeah.
Kora is Luke and Obi-Wan. That's how I thought of it in my head. Because she's the main character and he's the farmer more. Sorry, let me throw Uncle Owen in there as well. Not just Luke and Obi-Wan, but Uncle Owen. I could see a bit of Uncle Owen in Gunnar. So it's not just a carbon copy of this type of character from Star Wars is pretty much the equal version of this person here. Because in Rebel Moon we also have the Han Solo type character in Charlie Hunnam. And he was actually the character I was looking forward to the most, because I remember in the Netflix sizzle reel where they promote all their movies with a little clip here and there. I knew that shot where Hunnam's got the hood over him, he whips out that pistol. And I knew he was a pilot, so he's your Han Solo type.
And even that scene where he's introduced is very similar to the cantina. Yeah. In that the alien comes up to Gunnar, Luke, and Obi-Wan, Kora, that she protects him. Yeah. You know, the same way Obi-Wan cuts off your man's hand. Yeah. And then, you know, our Han Solo, Charlie Hunnam, Kai, you're going to be all the names for me. He is not wanting to be in the fight, but then is joined in at the prospect of
and he's the transporter, he's the driver. He's not
same as Han.
But he's not even like a main factor. Like for me, I was thinking, you know, it's Kora as the recruiter, but it's her and Gunnar, because he's the man who this quest does not start really without him either. And I'm glad as that actor Michiel Huisman is brought along into this movie much more than Corey Stoll, the guy with the beard. Yeah, who was the father of the Modoc from Ant-Man 3.
Like I think of him as Buzz Aldrin from First Man. Alright, that's how I remember him.
Cool. I think of him as the guy in House of Cards.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's how I know him from. And I knew he was in the movie, but he didn't have a character poster. So
you knew he wasn't going to be.
He was going to be at the start. Yeah. But so as we proceed into the movie, it's recruiting. Okay, we need to get here. Well, we got to go here first. But I think I know, and then they'll get the next person. The fucking ripped. I don't know what. Tarek is his name. Yeah. Who's the blacksmith who's working off a debt in slavery. Who's like he's the one who would ride the animals, like is he like more native to environment and creatures, and I don't know what he is. I don't even know what nationality the actor is or what ethnicity he is, but he's that guy. Then we have the Asian woman. So she's definitely. I would like to think, would she be the only character with the lightsabers in this ensemble? Yeah. If he was given the go ahead to make a Star Wars movie, which I like. She's the only one with the laser swords, and cool.
Right. With the regular blades, that can turn on, turn into lightsabers. And let's call them. Let's say, for the sake of argument, let's just call them lightsabers, because I don't think anyone is seeing that and not immediately thinking, "Oh, look, lightsabers." Yeah. You know, so let's.
And then all the way to get to the General Titus, who should be Kratos, Djimon Hounsou. Yeah, getting him. I remember seeing his image over a year ago, and he looks like a real monster. Cool. And then we've heard the blood axes, the brother and sister, being mentioned a few times, and they're brought into. So, then there's the robot, Jimmy.
Yeah, we didn't even. Yeah, he plays a very limited role.
He was in the trailer more than he was in the movie.
Yeah. I don't know how that's possible, but and he's voiced by Anthony Hopkins as well.
I like it. Yeah, not gonna lie, he was probably the most intriguing character of them all. He's only in the start and the end, but he's been saved for the sequel, clearly. And then we have the Hitler Nazi Moff Gideon, Grand Moff Tarkin, played by Skrein.
Yeah, and it seemed as we got towards the end, it did feel like it was a Darth Vader / Emperor Palpatine relationship there between him and
Baliasaurus. Dinosaur.
So
Fra Free is played by he's younger than he is now currently, and I only know Fra Free from Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, he's in.
He was Echo's right hand.
Yeah, he's in another movie as well. A Pixie, I think it's called.
Couldn't tell you.
With Olivia Colman.
Is he Irish?
Think so.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think actually
got some representation in there. By the way, what did you think of Charlie Hunnam's take on a Northern Irish accent? Belfast accent.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It felt very reminiscent of. I thought when I first heard it, I was like, oh, it sounds like Brad Pitt in The Devil's Own. Which maybe that I don't think Brad Pitt's one was as good of an accent. I think Charlie Hunnam actually nailed it.
Yeah, and I'm happy with Charlie Hunnam. I'm not gonna let someone do an Irish accent if they want to give it a go. So then he did train for it. I'm told. I read up on. So
good to know there's some Irish out there in this
yeah.
wide galaxy that he's great. I don't know about you, but with the blood axes that you mentioned them just there, I thought initially that we were when Ed Serkin's character, when he arrived,
Noble, I think his name is
Noble, when they arrived and they said that they were looking for these two, I thought that our two main characters, Gunnar and Kora.
Yeah.
Kora was it? I thought they were the two.
Oh,
because she was kind of hiding in the background. Yeah. I thought.
And he was sort of selling stuff on the side, like grain on the side. So he had a past.
Like there was something going on with them, definitely. And so I thought
maybe it's them.
Maybe it's them.
Right.
But obviously we find out through herself. She explains why she's on the run.
Yeah.
That she's the adopted daughter of this
Baladinosaur.
Baladinosaur.
And she was recruited to become Nazi, and she was given the title to she worked for the king, played by your man in Saw.
Carrie Elvis, yeah. And you know what? That's actually something I wanted to bring up as well. I kind of like when, and it's an old movie thing. It doesn't happen so much anymore. Where like a known actor, a well-known actor, he's just playing a role. Like he's not there for a cameo. He's not there for. He's hidden or something like that. It's just Carrie Ellis.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I knew he was going to be in almost similar to akin to Corey Stoll, but I don't know why, but I am expecting Carrie Ellis to be in the next one, even though his character is supposed to be dead.
I think we'll get more flashbacks.
Yeah,
definitely.
So it did. So it was rewarding me in what I wanted in this, 7 Samurai, Magnificent 7, Hateful 8, Ridiculous 6, just I sent you the character posters. This is why, I want he's the guy who's going around shirtless, and he's the guy with the trench coat, and he's the guy with the axe, and he's the guy who drinks, and
they all very much fit a certain role that you could see coming.
So it's a shame the dialogue was shit. And heavily expedited. There's a lot of expedition. Like I agree. 90% of movies where people talk, they don't talk like me and you. It's dialogue, it's blocking, it's pacing. They don't talk. So I have no problem in how lines are delivered in this movie. And it's not bothered by the whole expedition dump. Just to tell, instead of the show don't tell, they tell us, they don't show us. And when they do show us, they still tell us. So, but I'm not too bothered by that. And for the first, I was watching this movie knowing these negative criticisms about this movie. 15 minutes in, it's not bad. Half an hour in, not bad at all. An hour in, I don't know what everyone's talking about, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And this was around we got to the Tarek scene, And in that sequence I was thinking, Charlie Hunnam character Kai, he just joined up, offered his assistance for paying no bother. Get to that later. But then, if you tame that creature, you can your debt is paid in full. But if you don't, you're all in chains. And do you think you can tame the creature? This pivotal quest that Kora and her team are on, to find warriors. Just because Kai over there, Han Solo type, says you might like him, yeah, he could be a good warrior. And so rather than saying, nah, we can't risk it, we need to help our village, they'll risk being put in chains for forever for trusting this stranger just because he looks good. Can you tame that creature? Just, yeah, I can do it. So like no one didn't even say, you insane? Like, what if he can't do it? Don't worry about it.
I got it. Yeah. I always do hate when you have like that where the guy, they say like, oh, we don't have that much money, and he goes, well, you're luckily I'm a gambling man, and he completely like, he's like, you have no reason to gamble right now. You are in the losing position here. Yeah, fair enough, you might gain 3 slaves, but realistically they should be propositioning you, like they should be sweetening the pot. There's no reason for you to go, well, I'm a gambling man, and if he does it, he's free to go. And he's like absolutely like he just
easy going. But I think they improved upon that by not doing the traditional trope of, oh, he tamed a creature, he's free of his debt, I don't own him anymore. I'm gonna point my weapons at them and say, nope, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. At least he didn't do that. He wanted the creature to be tamed for his own personal use. I don't think he deserved to be killed over it. But whatever.
See, I think, and we'll jump into flashbacks here now in a minute, but I think that one thing that Zack Snyder has going against him, is that he very clearly is creative, and he created this whole world and this whole galaxy, and he just doesn't have enough time to explain everything how he wants to. So cool stuff that you'd want to see more of, or you want to see explained, goes unexplained. For example, the alien in the bar, the one that was like attached to that guy, that was a cool concept. It
was beyond cool. It was that. You look at that in the sketches or the mood board or the storyboards, it's cool concept. And please continue.
Then the beast that he tames.
Yeah.
Clearly for that slave driver, having that beast tamed is worth 300,000 of whatever your man owes.
Yeah.
So there's obviously these bird things. They're quite valuable. Maybe they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
But we don't see any of that. We just see him break it in, fly around for a bit, come back, and then they're away. A bit more in depth on that. Meeting Titus, the general.
Yeah.
And we're all of a sudden in this like gladiator world.
He's lying. He's a drunk.
Lying there.
A decorated war hero, slummed to drain his sorrows because of regret and shame, whatever you want to call it.
But how cool would it have been to see a galactic coliseum full of alien warriors fighting, and with different skills, and just a big like one-off set piece there, and to see why all these aliens that would, cool character designs and different weapons and stuff, how could they be beaten by this general? I think that's a missed opportunity there. So I think there's a lot that Zack Snyder wants to explore and wants to do. He just doesn't have the time for it, because he has to get on to the next thing.
So you mean that little quick scene of Kora going to Titus to say, we need your help, and he's going, no, please, and he just stands up as if his Odyssey is flashing before his eyes, and then fine. I mean, if you're gonna, what you just described about Titus, Colosseum, fighting alien warriors like Gladiator. He's presented to us as this gladiator type. No wonder I want him to be Kratos. Even more now. So you do that scene with Tarek where he's in touch with these animal creatures flying, like Buckbeak from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's what the bird creature is like. Cool. He's one of them, He's like the Native American who
he's like the force wielder almost, like
who hunts with wolves,
Yeah.
you even did that with the Asian character Nemesis with the lightsabers. You're dropped into this person's world, and Kai, we think you, based on who you are, we think you should join us. And she's like, I gotta go kill this spider lady. And okay, cool. So that's interesting. To see what she's capable of, to see who she is, maybe as a character, as a protector of the innocent, a mother who's lost her children. Why are you going with these people though? Why? You just up and go?
Just decide, yeah.
Yeah. Similar to, okay, so it feels like you started high with Tarek and then you're going down with Nemesis and down even more with Titus. It's just in terms of the recruitment process of characters and who they are in their environments, in their habitats. And then we get to the blood axes. So pretty much we have all our characters together minus Jimmy, the robot. I'm fine with that. And then we get to pretty much the climax of the movie. But, as you said, flashbacks.
Laura, play that jingle. Thank you, Laura. So, some flashbacks. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but flashback number 1. This story is influenced by Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, which is Zack Snyder's favourite film. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, was also influenced by Kurosawa's film, specifically The Hidden Fortress. Yeah. And it goes to show, like we were saying there, like you can kind of see the influence that both Seven Samurai and maybe it's because Star Wars is influenced by those Kurosawa films, that then this appears to be influenced by Star Wars when it's actually...
Yeah, so it's almost like this movie is the best of both. And I don't think I don't think any movie should be criticised for being a blatant... Oh, it's just one of these type of movies, you know? It's like, well, what movie isn't, you know? Like, when it comes to movies having you wake up to relive the same day over and over again.
It's a Groundhog Day film.
Yeah. But why should that be a negative thing? When if you're gonna copy it, fine. Like, it's just literally the same thing. But if you're gonna put your own spin on it, like Happy Death Day, or another
Palm Springs.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So there you go. See, no one's criticizing Palm Springs because people like it.
Yeah.
And people like Happy Death Day as well, but they still compare it almost negatively. So I have no problem that this is being compared to like 50 different space and sci-fi and western type of movies. Not a problem. It's not, in my opinion, it's not what's wrong with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Flashback number 2. This is the first time that Ed Skrein and Michiel Huisman have worked together since Huisman replaced Skrein as Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones. And I didn't realise that until... quite towards the end of the movie. I was like, where do I know this second guy from? The gunner character. I obviously knew Ed Serkin, and I knew him...
Is it Skrein?
Ed Skrein. Yeah, sorry, Ed Skrein. I knew him as playing the original Dario, and then he went off to play the bad guy in Deadpool. That's why he didn't return.
Actually, was it Deadpool or Transporter, the reboot? I'm pretty sure.
It might have been Transporter.
I remember seeing
him in Deadpool.
He got more opportunities with film roles, and great. He was supposed to be in the Hellboy movie with David Harbour, but he was replaced because he wasn't Asian.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But
yeah, I knew that after the fact. It's like I watched the movie first, and I knew who Michiel Huisman was. I knew who Ed Skrein was. I would have to have looked up their filmography separately, and then I would have to see Game of Thrones. Oh, we got 2 Game of Thrones. They played the same character, Dario Naharis, a character who was left behind in the later seasons of the show, and I think should return in the Jon Snow spin-off to fight Jon Snow for killing... you know, I don't care about spoilers because Game of Thrones is back when and everyone hates it, and I liked it. So,
who did you like playing Dario better?
Michiel Huisman.
Yeah, so did I. I think he just fit it better.
Yeah, and I liked him in Haunting of Hill House.
I haven't seen it.
He's almost like the lead character.
Okay.
He's the eldest sibling, Michiel Huisman, and
awesome. So flashback number 3 then.
3 flashbacks.
3 flashbacks, if you can believe it. Flashback number 3. Sir Ian McKellen, Sir Patrick Stewart, Liam Neeson, Morgan Freeman, and Anthony Daniels were all considered to play Jimmy the Robot until Sir Anthony Hopkins was chosen.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
Ian McKellen,
Patrick Stewart, Liam Neeson, Morgan Freeman, and Anthony Daniels. Anthony Daniels, I don't need Anthony Daniels there. Like, he's C-3PO.
Yeah.
However, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Liam Neeson, or Morgan Freeman, great choices. If it wasn't Anthony Hopkins, then any of those four would have been.
Who are you? Okay, but it's your decision, and the role has not been chosen. Who would you have picked? Not gonna lie, I would have stuck with Sir Hopkins.
Really?
Yeah, because I like his voice, especially when he narrates, and it's so.
Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Now, we can revisit this come April when we see the second part, and Jimmy obviously will be a bigger role.
Yeah, because he's literally only at the start of the movie, and
in the end, he seemed to have gone through a bit of a journey himself because he's got the antlers on him and all.
I read up a description of the character because I was so invested in this movie. He's going through an existential crisis.
That's another thing. We'll jump out of the flashbacks now in a second, but like I was saying there, where it's a thing that's slightly touched on and we don't get to revisit it. All those robots, as soon as the king died, all stopped fighting.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation given. Like that you said there, now he's going through an existential crisis. Maybe that's a whole thing with all of them. But the fact that you've had to do reading up afterwards,
as opposed to it being told in the movie.
Yeah. Then that's...
Actually, no, I read this up before the movie.
So that should be really kind of exploring within the movie. I think he just had a lot of ideas and he wanted all of them. But we'll jump out of the flashbacks and I'll continue on that point. Laura, play us out of here. So just on that point there, about there being kind of a lot of stuff based on that, where there is a lot of ideas pitched that weren't fully explored.
Yeah.
Would this have worked if it was a Star Wars movie? Do you think you would have liked it more if it was a Star Wars movie? Because those things that were introduced, there is an opportunity for those to be explored further, whether it be through the Star Wars animation, appearing in TV shows or comics, or expanded on by other filmmakers, or, certain things appearing that have already appeared in other movies. Do you know where I'm getting at here?
No, I'm glad it's not a Star Wars movie. I am more than happy for it to be a Zack Snyder film. His almost take on Star Wars. Having said that, he needed a better scriptwriter. Having said that, apparently, this is not the cut Zack Snyder claims to be his.
Oh, don't go through this again. This isn't the first time that we've had that.
This is apparently the PG-13 shorter theatrical cut of the movie. Zack Snyder apparently has his own 4-hour R-rated more character and world explored based movie.
You could have genuinely been describing Justice League right there with everything that you said. That sounds exactly like what we've been through already.
Well, here's the thing, David. I don't think Zack Snyder would do this movie we just watched and know or decide later to do the one he says or claims. He could be just lying after the fact of the reviews being so harsh. So just to sort of bounce it off. Oh no, this is not my version. I got my own version.
Blame on that.
Yeah, so that could just be an after the fact claim. But for right now, I'll take him at his word. He's got his own cut. Why did we get this movie? Yeah. So, fuck you, Netflix, for trying to force the buzz of repeating the journey of the Justice League Snyder cut. And apparently Batman v Superman cut that apparently the Zack Snyder one was better, I'm told. I never watched it. And there's like 3 Watchmen cuts. So we just got the throwaway version. We got the version that...
If it's being artificially manufactured...
Yeah.
Then yeah, you're right.
So no, definitely, I believe, I could be wrong, and I'll admit I'll eat my words, but I'm pretty sure Netflix wanted Zack Snyder to, you can do whatever you want, just do it in this sandbox. Whereas I think Zack Snyder is okay, yeah, I'll do this thing, but here you go. Can I go back to my own thing, which is his cut? And yeah, thanks. Wow. Netflix releases it. Terrible reviews. And I think we're gonna get down the line the Zack Snyder version, the director's cut, the R-rated version of Rebel Moon. And I'm going, why did you release this then? Why are you forcing something to, when you can't capture lightning in a bottle purposely?
Yeah. Also, two very, very, very different scenarios with like, if it is the case where they're manufacturing this,
it's very manufactured.
Second version of release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget that the first time that this happened with Justice League, a tragedy happened where his daughter died.
Yeah.
And he was taken off the film, and another director brought in and completely reshot the film.
Yeah.
But if you're manufacturing, if you see that terrible scenario, where the man lost his daughter and then as a consequence lost the film, and it kind of in a way really put a black mark on his career, that whole aspect, whole portion of his life, to then try and artificially manufacture that because the release of Snyder Cut,
that was all generated by fans.
And it was a huge movement that, it's something that we've not really, in a way, never really seen before, where fans demanded a version of a film and then it be released.
Yeah. As almost like episodic.
Yeah,
parts.
and like, I'll be real with you. I've the whole release the Snyder Cut movement, and now the restore the Snyderverse and all this stuff. I'm not part of that camp at all. I was happy to see the Zack Snyder version.
So was I.
And it is better.
It is better.
And it's miles better.
It's 4 hours.
And I will happily watch that any day over the original release of it.
Yes.
But I just don't know why you would want to artificially manufacture that instead of just giving the good movie in the first place.
Buzz, publicity,
but you're losing the faith of a portion of the audience.
Yeah.
To say like, oh, this was shit. I'm sure there was an amount of the audience who have not seen the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Yeah.
Because the original one absolutely soured them on.
This is just executives at Netflix trying to
capture
capture profit, get publicity, get.
And I wonder how profitable was because of the fact that
I hope they eat their words. I hope they struggle because of this. I hope Netflix.
It's interesting because
I feel deceived by this.
The Zack Snyder Justice League was released on Max, so it's not even like we got a box office for it.
No,
compared to
it's not as if this
one-to-one.
It's not as if this movie was released in cinema, and then we're gonna get the Zack Snyder cut on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's coming on Netflix regardless. So what are you doing? It's just pathetic. It's pathetic. Now, having said that out of the way, I still think the movie. I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it 3. I think because I liked. Here's the thing, right? Is that the question I asked you, where would this have worked better as a Star Wars movie? I can see the positives of it being a Star Wars movie in the possibility of certain things being expanded upon, but to play devil's advocate to my own question, in the same way that I really like the creator for having a new sci-fi world.
Yes.
I have to give Zack Snyder props for that. He seems to have created a sci-fi world that is expanded. It has a lore that we can visit in different iterations, in different mediums, and it's well thought out. And maybe this first movie stumbled a little bit in terms of how other people perceived it, but you have to give someone props for coming up with an original idea.
Yeah.
And an original IP in the landscape where everything is a reboot, a remake, a legacy sequel, part of a cinematic universe, part of a franchise, whereas this now is a first step in a new direction.
It's first step into being an intellectual property.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He's already got part 2, then don't get me started with whatever the hell, animated whatever, a podcast whatever, a graphic novel whatever. You know what I mean? He said, I could do an episode. I could do a prequel of a Balisarian dinosaur character, but it's not as if he confirmed that. It's just a thought when he was asked a question, and then they ran a headline about it.
In the same way that like George R. R. Martin with Game of Thrones starts practically towards the end of the Game of Thrones history.
Yeah,
like there's hundreds of years of backstory.
Yeah.
Same way Zack Snyder, he starts at this very clear point, and there's lots to go back and explore. There's lots to come. And the same with Star Wars as well. Like Star Wars, realistically, it started at episode 4. Not even realistically, it did. It started at A New Hope.
Yeah.
And we've gone back and we've gone forward and we've gone everywhere in between. So there's lots of room to move here now for Zack Snyder, no matter what way he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Because, the small amount that we saw in this film, it is ripe for more stuff. Like, to be honest, of all the stuff that I saw, I'm curious if there's anything that you specifically, I want to see more of this. But that gladiator world, just seeing like a galactic gladiator ring, I think that would be a great, like, even if he did like a 6-part miniseries, on one episode there.
He does have I think it is 4 hours, and I do believe so what is that 4 hours? Does it improve and elevate what we've got here? Because I'm not really too happy with the characters being very characteristic in caricatures and
surface level,
surface level. Like, they really are. Like, you introduced one of the Blood Axe siblings, the brother, Ray Porter, theatre actor who played Cyborg.
That was Ray Porter. No, Ray Fisher.
Fisher, yeah.
That was Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Didn't he look cool?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But he was killed almost like near after he was being introduced. So they're saving his sister for the next one because she only had one scene. She had a character poster. But you gotta think there's more screen time with them. We don't even have a moment where all these characters sit down and have that socialization. Yeah. You know?
Why are we a team?
Yeah, like the Magnificent Seven had it with Denzel Washington, and some of the Suicide Squad scene had one.
The fact that they all went back to the village at the end, rather than all going their separate ways. Like, there's no, I didn't feel like there's any reason for them all to stick together at this point, because in their eyes they accomplished their goal.
Yeah, they defeat the main villain, but if surface level, they didn't give us enough information. Just show us what they're doing when they find them and come join us, and like, sure,
okay, thanks.
It's very surface level, but I am biased with it. But I won't argue with anyone if they say it's shit. I won't argue. If you thought this movie was shit, I won't argue with you.
Yeah, and the same if someone loved it, I wouldn't argue. I'd be like, I can see for either argument that can be made. It's shit because of this, because of this, because of this. I'd be like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Or if they loved it for this, this, and this, yeah, that's fair. I think we're very much down the middle of.
Sure, we're giving it half rated. Then
we're very close to it.
So
but I look forward to the next one. I really do hope, and I'm glad that it didn't, because of the fact that it's a part 2 coming out.
Yeah.
This one did feel like a complete story. There's nothing worse than it like ending on a cliffhanger, knowing that there's something coming next.
Yeah.
Like a story needs to be complete for me.
And I like that what they're trying to do with Noble, if he doesn't accomplish it, who is alive. Okay, cool. So you don't kill the villain in this movie, but I have to mention expedition dump of saying, when they're all captured, this person is this, Blood Axe is this one, Titus is this one, Nemesis is this, describing tell, don't show. Anyway, trying to appeal to some sympathy to Noble, because if he doesn't capture Kora for Balar's dinosaur, he's going to be killed. So you die. Like, he's very just a racist, and I like that. I thought they were going to elevate him, because as soon as they landed at the home planet at the start, he goes to give your man a hug. And
do you know who he kind of reminded me of?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
Do you remember
what movie?
Inglourious Bastards.
No way. Because I've heard that comparison before. The Jew Hunter.
Yes.
Christoph Waltz.
Yes.
Hans
I
Landa.
felt that, like, that he comes in and he's there in his his imperial outfit and very Nazi-esque, comes in, hugs your man, and it's like he's almost being very fair with him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I just want you to clarify this for me, and you could very much be his enemy or your best. He could be your worst enemy or your best friend, depending on what you have to give him.
But it's after he kills your man,
the father.
Sintra.
Yeah.
Sentry? Corey Stahl, the guy with the beard. After Modak, after he kills him, Gunnar says, "What do you want?" Everything. So you just jumped from 50 to 100 quite quick there. It's like, come on, okay. But who cares? I don't.
Yeah.
You
needed to be very clear that he was the villain.
Yeah,
there was
but you just jumped to the mustache twirling villain.
That's it, exactly.
Quite quickly. I appreciate that he hugged them to so I can understand where he's coming from, to feed his army in search of rebels. But
he was nuanced to begin with, and then as soon as he attacked your man, then it was okay. No, I'm over this. now, and you need to know that I'm the bad guy here.
Yeah, and then just the end, like, oh, they'll make me a Senate now for this. Like, come on. There's two things I just want to touch on. Between Charlie Hunnam as Kai and Gunnar, played by Michiel Huisman, when it was just the three of them first, I was like, one of them's going to be the love interest and the other one's going to be the traitor.
I wasn't expecting a traitor at all.
No?
No, not at all.
I was...
When he turned it around in that scene towards the end, I was like really surprised by it, actually, because I just wasn't expecting that. And then I also wasn't expecting them to kill him off. Now we didn't
just like, no, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah, he got a gun up, pointed at his head.
Part of me wishes he wasn't dead.
No,
I think if he sort of escaped to come back to sort of maybe redeem himself, but or go with that way, whatever. Like, I just knew I thought Gunnar was going to be a traitor maybe, but then I knew these two handsome, good-looking lads who very. One of them was going to be the traitor. One of them is going to be the from Frozen. One of them's going to be the good guy, and the other one who's supposed to be good is good. When you have two good guys who are supposed to be the love interest, one of them's going to be the traitor.
I think it was because of the fact that Charlie Hunnam's character was introducing the main characters he was an integral part in getting everyone.
So what was his motivation to get on board, to join this crew, to transport for them for little to no money?
Yeah,
like I thought of that as like,
I didn't put two and two together, to be honest. So it did get me.
I'm not bothered by it. I just wanted more. Hopefully Zack Snyder has more. And the other thing I just want to quickly mention, Jimmy, interesting character. For a little screen time that he has.
Like you said, hopefully we'll see more of him in the second one. And
pretty sure that's everything summed up to the T.
Same.
Is there any characters you didn't like?
The only reason that I wouldn't have liked any of the characters is because like you said, they're all very surface level. They're caricatures of what they should be.
She's the one with the dead children. He's the one who's from royalty into slavery. He's the drunk warriors.
Yeah,
it's like very, like, none of them is there's no. I suppose this would have been a caricature if one of them was a dickhead, but turned out to be not bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, I was drunk watching this, so, and I feel like people are hating on this movie a lot more than they did Fast X. For fuck's sake, we had Fast X. Let's be grateful this movie was not The Expendables 4.
Absolutely. I think that's all we have to say. You got any recommendations before we wrap this baby up?
Yeah. In light of Netflix, I'm going to recommend Leave the War Behind.
Okay, that's also a bit of a controversial one. I know that it hasn't been getting.
I liked it.
As good reviews. I haven't got a chance to sit down and watch it yet, but
it's one of the. Oh, let me just. How do I describe it? It's one of those movies where you don't know what's going on, and can you trust what's going on, or is it really a whole lot of nothing? Almost like 10 Cloverfield Lane. Okay, that's a good way. Okay, that's you've turned me on to it more. And I could see it as a prequel movie to an upcoming movie coming out in 2024.
Okay.
Will I tell you what that movie is?
Yeah.
Or
no.
It might give away
Okay, don't tell me it then, because I will watch it. I do.
And then I'll bet you'll probably guess what movie.
Okay, yeah, okay. Good. Okay.
Have you got Rex?
I do. Godzilla -1.
Nice.
I saw it there the other day. It's great. It goes back to the kind of traditional Japanese Godzilla. He's not fighting Kong.
He's not westernized.
Not westernized. It's classic not classic King Kong. Classic Godzilla coming in, fucking shit up, and it's just great. It's it's a Godzilla movie where you really do care about the characters, whether they live or die.
So it's the best Godzilla movie there is.
I would say. Actually, yeah, I would say that. I've not seen every Godzilla movie. I've seen the original, and I've seen the Matthew Broderick one, and then I've seen all of the kind of
newer ones,
the newer 2014 Gareth Edwards onwards.
Yeah,
and then Shin Godzilla as well. I've seen, but this is the best one so far
because of the characters,
because of the effects, because of the story. It was brilliant. I'd highly recommend it.
I watched it.
Yeah, and you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want it. I still want my Western Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
With the King Kong and I want that.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing with Godzilla.
Let me put it this way: I want to have the next James Bond to be Paul Mescal or your man who played Robb Stark from Game of Thrones,
Richard Madden.
Yes, yeah. But I wouldn't mind an Idris Elba standalone James Bond movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
You were fine getting your Ben Affleck Batmans, and then you get your Robert Pattinson Batman. Yeah, you'd be happy with both. You're fine. Yeah, keep it coming. Yeah, excellent. I think that puts an end to this entry into our catalogue of Wednesday weekly waffling.
Folks, thanks for listening for another long episode. Coming to the end of the year now. I know, it's crazy. We got a couple more coming up. We've got Aquaman next few weeks. We're going to do our most anticipated 2024. We're going to do a look back at soon at 2023 for our anniversary. Can you believe we're almost at our anniversary? Almost a year doing this. Let's save that for the anniversary episode. If you like listening to this episode, please listen on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on whatever your app of podcasting listening app of choice. See, David, this is what you do to close an episode, but it's only fair I give it a go. So, as again, thank you for listening. 5 stars if you can. Helps us, gives you nothing. And it gives us everything costs you done. God damn it. Like we said, guys, we'll be here every Wednesday for the following year. We do appreciate it. And we enjoy doing this. We do this anyway. We just thought it'd be good for us. It'd be good. Let's just get that down. Listening. Yeah. Our grandchildren will be listening back at us on this, so long as Spotify keeps running. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. Happy Christmas, Dave.